lost in the jungle, use the satellites. If you're broke in the city, sneak on the bus line. You lost your job because it was mechanized. They said we have to compete when the market's globalized. Everything is electrified. Everything is electrified. Everything is electrified. Yes. Hey, y'all. Hi, Kiersten.
Hi, Ben.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
Good. I'm super pumped to tell them about some good things happening in Kentucky.
Likewise.
Yep, let's do it. That's what it is. Darling, down the highway. I'm so sorry. It's a terrible thing to do to somebody.
Earworms. 99% of us have been hosts to these pesky parasites at some point in our lives. Whether they nibble on our ears or while they nibble on our ears, the actual feast unfolds in our auditory cortex, the banquet of memory and perception. Whether standing in our kitchen, riding the subway, or walking down the street, each cunning audio instantiation seeps into our ear and taps out mnemonics on its drum. Once you drop the needle on the track, you're in its domain.
I was walking. I'm so sorry.
Songs reside in our short-term memory for relatively long periods of time. Most of us, 74%, get caught up on songs with lyrics. But commercial jingles and instrumental songs can also be hard to shake. This helps explain why Suzanne Vega's song is still ringing in our heads almost 30 years after its release. It also explains Muzak's infiltration of our everyday. Yes, that seemingly banal backdrop designed to alleviate awkward elevator moments. In the 40s, claiming the office as his studio, Muzak exec Don O'Neill dedicated days to observing workers, meticulously charting their moods and behaviors in an attempt to sustain productivity. The result? Stimulus production. Muzak's trademark innovation used sound as a means to harness human biorhythms, modulating the ebb and flow of the office with carefully composed beats. Over time, Muzak has migrated from the office into our homes. Today, it permeates banks, retail spaces, restaurants, and hospitals around the world, albeit under an entirely new name, Mood by Design. To design is to affect and effect change. Or, according to political scientist Herbert Simon, changing the existing to the preferred. So really, we're all designers. We eat, sleep, dream, play, and even perish by design. Yet more often than not, we're unaware of the various ways we affect and effect our environment. The relational complexities and transactional cost of design get lost in our everyday. Consider, for example, groundwater. In Kentucky, nearly 2 million families depend on groundwater every day. Farmers use it to harvest tobacco. Distillers use it to produce bourbon. Our entire economy, not to mention myriad ecologies, relies on groundwater. Yet little is known about the water that runs beneath the bluegrass. How much do we have? Is it enough? For how long? Which aquifers are most susceptible to contamination? Why? How does this affect us? And conversely, how do our everyday actions affect the quality of our groundwater? As Wendell Berry aptly observed, for humans to have a responsible relationship to the world, we must be able to imagine our places in it. To this end, Ben and I, along with our colleagues, Sean Montgomery, Bland Hoke, Zachary Kaiser, John Pope, and Dan Marwitt, in collaboration with the Kentucky Geological Survey, began to wonder.
What if you could actually listen to the groundwater of Kentucky? So together, we imagined Livestream, which is Kentucky's first integrated groundwater monitoring network. And the idea is, by harnessing the power of art, science, and technology to catalyze curiosity, Livestream actually engages individuals, businesses, and institutions across Kentucky in the cultivation of two of our most precious resources, imagination and groundwater. Now, how are we going to do that? That's where Kiersten comes in.
Play. Or, more accurately, interaction and experimentation. In brief, Livestream is a kit of parts distributed across Kentucky that will collect, monitor, and translate groundwater data into an interactive soundscape. This soundscape will manifest as public art installations, an online archive and mobile app, and educational outreach programs. Each part of the project is uniquely designed to raise environmental awareness, literacy, and accountability from the ground up. Intrigued? Allow us to explain.
This is where I come in. Now, while Kentucky Geological Survey has done a remarkable job maintaining our groundwater resources, they've had to tackle a pretty big problem. They can't measure frequently enough for the dynamic groundwater system that we have here in Kentucky. Some of today's most recent groundwater data sites are more than 30 years old. That means we haven't measured them for more than 30 years. So, to begin the project, the Geological Survey identified 16 springs across Kentucky that could serve as the foundation for an integrated monitoring network. But this is where the fun begins. Tell them, Kiersten.
So, what Ben and I are going to do is collaborate, and what we are doing is collaborating with individuals and organizations to select and fund a live stream site from the survey's map. We install live monitoring stations. Each station is equipped with state-of-the-art sensors that measures the spring's depth, pH, conductivity, turbidity, and temperature every 15 minutes. Yes, that's right. Livestream will actually increase groundwater data collection from once every 30 years to once every 15 minutes, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This information will be translated via satellite to the Kentucky Geological Survey's groundwater data repository. Using a custom-designed sonification toolkit, Livestream will then translate this data into sound.
And I will be composing those sounds, a library of sounds. Within the library, each parameter will be represented by a scale of sounds, which is to say each sound will correspond to a data point within the average range of the parameter data. So you can think of it as a gigantic player piano for groundwater data in Kentucky. The resulting sounds will be integrated into a public art installation, which will be large pipes that weave in and out of the earth. Each pipe corresponds to one of the 5 groundwater things that we're measuring, and it's interactive, which is the coolest part. So if you're in front of pH and it's playing, and someone moves towards you, she's pushing it. So as individuals approach the pipe, the sound will be activated, and volume is based on proximity. So you can actually play with the sound of the ground. So moving through the sculpture, you can literally play the ground, and you can compare the sound of pH with the sound of turbidity. And in this way, you can get a sense of affection for the groundwater. And beyond serving as a provocative framework for raising groundwater awareness, Livestream seeks to expand our geologic knowledge. As more live monitoring stations and installations are distributed across Kentucky, folks can visit the online archive or mobile app to compare and contrast. For example, the pH in the pennyroyal and the pH in the inner bluegrass. How? Well, they can mash up sounds. They can make their own soundtrack. Integrated into this playful investigation will be environmental facts, figures, and questions from a diversity of sources, be it a WEKU climatologist or a farmer in E-Town. And as a composer, it's my goal to help generate a sense of affection for the limited resources that we have in my beautiful home state. This platform will serve as the foundation for a diversity of educational outreach programs that amplify the capacity of schools and parks and institutions to effectively transform citizens into geologists.
I want to land on that one. Okay. Well, perhaps you're wondering, is this effectively Muzak 2.0? Absolutely not. Similar means entirely different end. By harnessing design as a means to ask questions, Livestream tunes up perceptual affordances so that we can tune out of our everyday and tune into the bluegrass. In other words, to unlearn, to exercise some control over how and what we think, to engage and disengage, to learn and to unlearn, so that together we can begin to design a more sustainable tomorrow, today, for our Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you.